BIP of Bizarre Angels Productions, and for Asian American Heritage Month, it's crazy to think that one person was responsible for helping kickstart Twilight, or at the very least resulted in one of the three leads of the movie installment of the hit franchise reach some amount of mainstream success. So let's talk about the Asian Power Ranger somewhat responsible for Twilight. If you made it this far into the video, type Mike Chad, MICKECHAD, in the comments below, and let's get started. Mike Chat, or Michael Chaturabe, is a Thai-American actor, martial artist, and stuntman, best known for his role to my more toku-knowledgeable audience as Chad Lee, the Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue Blue Ranger. He actually started getting involved in martial arts since 1995 when he was 20 years old. To give you a quick rundown, he was born in Thailand, was trained in Sharkey's Karate School in Napier, Illinois, the same city he went to high school, with his sensei being John Sharkey Jr. He earned his black belt in karate and became a 6th-degree black belt in Taekwondo by 1995. He was actually inspired by all the martial arts films that he would watch with his dad, including kung fu movies, and that's all he wanted to do. His dad also did Muay Thai, which played a factor into it. He actually pointed out before XMA that in the 80s and 90s, martial arts schools were lacking teenage students because most programs had 80% kids and about 20% adults. And those kids were dropping out in large numbers by the time they became teens, which, yeah, I can definitely relate to given how complicated life has become. He even joked that Karate Kid, Ninja Turtles, Matrix, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li made martial arts cool again, but they wanted to do Matrix martial arts, and you can't exactly teach wire food to people under the age of 18. So ended up training and studying with Olympic winning gymnasts onto quantum fighters, as well as desiring to create a program to teach in schools what they were already doing on TV, filming tournaments. So that's where the term extreme martial arts came from, where he labeled it. He also trained dozens of world forms and weapon champions, in addition to holding the title himself, including training many stunt doubles for some of Hollywood's leading men. Yeah, he trained Jaden Smith for the Karate Kid 2010 reboot, and Taylor Launter of the Twilight saga, who we will talk about. I actually couldn't find much about what led him to end up getting a role in Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, but the show did allow him to use a lot of his martial arts prowess and skills in certain stunts and fights. But thanks to his skills and having roles in that, not only showed that he had a few other skills around the time, he also ended up having enough experience in order to convince Taylor Lautner to get into acting. So let's transition into that. Yeah, if you watch the Call Her Daddy podcast, Taylor confirmed Mike got him into acting because he was his karate trainer when he was 8 years old. Taylor and his family were sort of hesitant because Taylor was doing a lot at the time. He lived in Michigan, he had school, football, baseball, martial arts, and they stayed with him before Mike took Taylor to some auditions. Taylor ended up going to some of these auditions, found out that he loved it, and slowly started to want to do more. By the time he was 12, his family was willing to have him move out to Los Angeles, and he respects him for that even now. That led to him playing the young version of Bas Rutten's character of Kismet in Shadow Fury, starring Sam Bottoms and Masakatsu Funaki, 4 years before he got his breakout role as Shark Boy in The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl in 3 to 4 years. After doing Cheaper by the Dozen, too, Lautner ended up proving he could be a solid actor and got offered the role to play Jacob Black in Twilight. However, he almost lost the role in the New Moon sequel. Why? Well, he got a call that basically said, "Thank you for your participation, but we're recasting you for the rest of the franchise," because his character's description in the book series, since, well, in his words, was basically saying, my character in the first book is supposed to be like a 16-year-old little scrawny boy, and in the middle of New Moon, he transforms into this 25-year-old looking built muscular man. So their plan all along was to cast a 16-year-old, which they did, and they were going to cast like a mid-20s guy to carry on and be Jacob for the rest of the franchise. I had to fight for my role back, he explained. The books as a reference point, Taylor decided to go to the gym after filming the first movie, hardcore working out for about 9 months, and had gained about 20 to 25 pounds, and even then still had to audition for the role back. Yeah, he talked about how he was 140 pounds, and by new, he ended up as 175. It didn't feel as natural for his body, and he had to work very hard for it, but as you pointed out, it was just very, very hard to maintain. He even said in an interview that he was forced to be in a gym multiple times a day, about 6 days a week, so that after their franchises ended, he started rebelling against going to the gym and stopped working out entirely. While I hesitate to call it PTSD because a YouTuber talking about things they're not that educated on, unless they are big YouTubers and are too big for people to call them out on it, I will say that having trauma from putting yourself in a tough situation is something that's very hard. And I can definitely understand and relate to that. I have overworked myself for points in my life that made it hard for me to mentally adjust. And even now, I still have to find multiple ways to deal within those limits. He even pointed out later when he had to do a film and he saw images of people putting himself side to side then versus when he was in a clips. And he started having self-doubt about his image again, which that sucks. Like, no one should ever have to go through that. Yeah, it causes mental health to decline, and he had to prioritize self-care and not focus on his body image by getting his mental health to help his first before getting his body healthy. I talked before on this channel about my struggles with mental health and just being able to do everything at a certain point, hence why this was getting written on Memorial Day. But yeah, you need to have a sound mind before you have a sound body. And I don't want you guys or anyone else to have to feel like you're not mentally ready just to get through today. There's more value in life than what you look like. And on the bright side, Mike still continues to support him in some way or form and checks up on him too. But there is one more person I want to talk about. For all my Kamen Rider Dragon Knight fans, does anyone remember the name Matt Mullins? Yeah, while he was an underbelt, he met Mike Chat and he helped Mike popularize extreme martial arts. That led to Discovery Channel producing a documentary called XMA Extreme Martial Arts, and they talked about how combining the style with motion technology and motion capture and 3D imaging to show how martial arts uses a complete body. And during that time, guess who he was playing on TV for younger kids growing up on the CW for kids? That's right, Len, aka Kamen Rider Wing Knight back in 2009. That being said, you have not only seen him not only around 2009, but at other times too. In 2007, he was the motion capture for Nathan Drake. The same year, he was the face model for Chris Redfield. In fact, he was also the face model for Chris Redfield back in Resident Evil 2002. He did stunt work in Ted Bundy, No Rules, and was later the fight choreographer for Severed. He was the fight choreographer for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Masterless, Defenders, and the second season of Luke Cage. He also showed up in Kicking It in 2012 as Trent, who I think may have been a bit too old for that role, but whatever. And he was also a Centipede soldier on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2014. It's more crazy and inspiring when you think about it. We had a guy who was inspired by his dad from one culture, using that to get into a position he loved as a child, managed to use that in tandem with his growing skills as an actor, was able to found a school for more talented martial arts, then pass on the torch to another person who also got them into acting and martial arts, while also helping someone get more accolades and who also improved their output on the television and gaming world. Yeah, the title may have seemed a little bit clickbaity, and if it does come off that way, I apologize. But I'm not wrong for saying that the Power Rangers was the key to inspiring one of the major players in the Twilight Saga's prolific era. I do feel bad his abduction in Tracer's movies critically and commercially failed. And then when he tried again, The Ridiculous Six and Run the Tide, he also got critics upset because the first film managed to get a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, while the second one also got him criticism too. He did star in the BBC sitcom Cuckoo, and I actually kept up with him based on his role in Scream Queen Season 2 as one of the killers of Cassidy, who was really close to having a redemption arc, but then you gotta kill all the killers in that show except for Hester because of Leah Michelle or something. And allegedly, I'm not making this up, he is working on a Hollywood movie called The Token Groomsman with Sailor Highland, which is cool. But he's also working on an upcoming series called Taylor Launter, Werewolf Hunter. A hyper-meta project that uses the act of disappearance from the spotlight for comedic fodder. No, seriously, this is the tagline. After wrapping up the final Twilight film, Taylor Launter vanished from the spotlights. Speculated, tabloids theorized, but the truth is wilder than fiction. Taylor wasn't just taking a mental health break. He was preparing for his real calling. Taylor Launter, werewolf hunter. Playing himself, Taylor is drawn into a secret society of werewolf trackers who need his unique expertise. As he navigates his double-life Hollywood actor by day, supernatural warrior by night, Taylor must wrestle with the ultimate irony, fighting the very creatures that made him famous. Between the world, reviving his career, and falling in love, he faces the ultimate question: what happens when your biggest role becomes your greatest enemy? So, BIP of Bizarre Interest Productions, and before I sign off, I can only hope this is a glorious thing, and if you like Taylor Launter, you also have an Asian American Power Ranger to thank. So, happy Asian American Heritage Month, and this is about the Power Ranger who is responsible for Twilight. Somewhat.